Hello everyone and welcome in this new tutorial. Today I would like to give you a quick tour on this application that you see here and which I call NervTerraGen. I've been working on that pretty intensively lately and I'm already pretty happy in fact with the result that you can already see. Well, there's still a lot to do, but I thought it was a good time to maybe give you a quick introduction on what you can do with this tool. As you can see, this is running in the browser, so you actually can already run that yourself on your side if you go to this URL. And so where should we start? Okay, so the idea with this tool is really to give you the possibility to generate some terrain height map. And in fact, the main feature is in this menu here, the file menu, you have this export height map button. So we'll come back to this in a moment. But also, as you see on screen, we are displaying this height map at the same time. So this is giving you the opportunity to, well, get an idea of what your terrain will look like. And you can in fact tweak this terrain, so we will try to give some detail on that. First thing maybe is this view menu. We can quickly discuss this part, or maybe even before that. To navigate on the terrain we use the mouse. You can rotate freely, and then to move, I'm sorry about that. Actually, I'm just realizing that this is only designed for French keyboard, because I use a Z key to move forward, S key to move backward, Q to move left, and D to move right. And I don't have anything to configure this part yet. So if you have a QWERTY keyboard, that could be maybe less practical. But anyway, you can just move around, of course. And next, as I said, you have this view menu where you have different views. This is a default one. That's the view that you should get when you start the application. Then we have a far view. Again, this is just viewpoint location, but then you can still move around. As you can see now, I'm moving just right, for instance. And you have the top view. So you can see the complete height map. Okay, another detail maybe is the generation process is not very, how can we say that, very good yet, because there are still a few artifacts in the display. You see that you basically have kind of vertical and horizontal lines at this resolution, but you in fact have different ways to tweak this. So going back to the top view, next thing you would like to do is to go to the display menu and use this control panel. The demo panel is something you probably don't want to try at all, because that's just going to display the IMGUI demo window, and I'm just using that as a reference myself to know what I could be adding or changing in the GUI display. So not really relevant for any kind of usage. And you can't even close that. Okay, so you can just disable it from here. But then you have this control panel, and this is where you would tweak the details for the terrain display before you export your height map. So on the terrain tab, what do we have? The terrain size. Let me think. Okay, so this is just controlling the global size of the terrain, but that's only going to affect the display that you get here. It's not going to change anything on the generated height map. Next, we have the power setting. This one, I think, yes, is going to change something. You can't really see the change here, but if we go to the home view and we tweak the power, we will see that this is definitely changing the terrain shape. basically this is applying a power function to the heightmap values, assuming that the heightmap values are going from 0 to 1, so they are normalized first and then you apply the power, I think. So the higher the power, yes, the more difficult it is to get to the 1 value, so everything we get close to the 0 value. Okay, next you can also control the mean and max altitude value, but again this is only for the display part, it's not really touching the heightmap data. The heightmap data is still going to be between 0 and 1. And this is it for the terrain tab. Then you have the heightmap tab, which is where you have most of the controls to generate the heightmap itself. The, well, kind of most interesting one as a parameter here is the grid size. Currently we're generating a grid, a terrain heightmap texture of 2048 by 2048 pixels, but you can use different size and you can increase the resolution that you get for your heightmap at the end. So for instance here with 4096 or even 8192, and that's the maximum value that we can use. Then we have a setting here which is defining how many levels of warp we're going to use on the noise. So you have the option to use 0, 1 or 2 levels. If you use 0, it means only the layer 0 here is effective, and that's okay. I probably need to reduce that. Using the maximum resolution here is going to slow down your computer a bit because you have a vertex grid then of 8K by 8K. So let's go back to 4000, should be a bit better. And I was saying that, yeah, if I use only one level, just need to configure the layer 0 then. And this is defining all the settings that you could want to tweak for a fractional Brownian motion noise generation. So you have the density, which is going to control well, the density of the features on the map, I guess. So if you move away, you can see that, yeah, I guess if we go in the top view, you will see that if you use only one level, you clearly get those vertical and horizontal artifacts. But if you reduce the density, I think, okay, if you increase this, you get more artifacts. But if you reduce it, you can get a terrain. Let's say, oh no, can I not? Oh yeah, it's control and left click to be able to write the value manually. So let's say 0.006. Yes, I guess that at this level you don't really have any artifact anymore. Okay. That would be for you level 0, and that's going to control your position. So the grid offset, as you can see, you can move this around. The number of octaves is going to tell you what is the number of octaves and resolution of your grid, so you can reduce that or increase the value. But at some point, the number of octaves will not have any effect anymore if the resolution of your grid is not high enough. Next, you have the gain for each level. Let's get to a closer view. Okay. Now that we have reduced the density of the terrain, we probably want to increase a bit maximum altitude value. All right. And another important setting here is the type of FBM that we want to generate. Currently we only have the choice between a regular FBM or the rigid FBM. So this one is a rigid one, and if we turn that to regular one, you get more standard FBM generation, which doesn't look so good. So maybe the max altitude value is a bit too much. Okay. And for the level 0, I really prefer myself to use a rigid FBM. Alright. And in fact, for this level 0, I would say that you probably don't want to have too many octaves, so this should not be too high. Maybe, I mean, it depends. And then on this level 0, the warp strength here is not going to be used, in fact. But if you use a rigid FBM, those two parameters here will have an effect. So this is the global offset and the exponent. Okay, I mean, yeah, that's kind of interesting this way, I guess. Okay, and so far we have only been using one level of noise, but what you can do then is use another level which is going to warp the domain coordinates used for the level 0. So this is standard domain warping concept that you can apply when you generate those terrain with noise. So let's say we use another level here. In fact, if we go on the top view, we can already see when we activate that you get some distortion of the terrain. And then when you configure the level 1, so you just check this one, you can specify what is the intensity of this domain warping. So if you increase that, you get more distortion. So let's get close to the terrain again. All right. So again, you can just play with this level 1 noise layer and configure the settings as you want. So you could increase the density, which is going to produce some garbage. So you don't want to put that too high. Let's get to the top view, maybe. That's a bit too far. I would like to get a bit closer, but not too close. Okay, so navigation on the terrain is not so good yet, so that's something I would need to improve, like storing some viewpoints, stuff like that. Anyway, let's just stick to the home view then. What could I do? If I reduce the intensity, okay. Oh, and also this is a FBM currently, so let's just try to change that. Yeah, maybe. And also more noise doesn't help too much. What is this again? This is a scale. Yeah. What's funny? You. Oh my. Okay. Let's just not push this too much. right? And okay, so you get the idea in the end. What else should we do? Yeah, on top of that, you can add another layer again. So the idea is that the layer 2 noise will warp the coordinate that are passed to the layer 1 noise, which is then used to warp the coordinate passed to the layer 0. So if I select layer 2, if I do not activate the warp level here, currently it's just set to 1, then changing the settings for layer 2 will have no effect, obviously. So you really need to activate warp level 2 here. And if you do that, then yeah, you get those notifications. Okay, so maybe not the absolutely best terrain, but it's already something. And when this is ready, I guess this is all the settings that we have currently for the 8-map control. On the scene tab, we can control the lighting part. So the exposure, I guess no, this one is not used yet. Sun latitude and longitude. If you increase this one, you get sun at a vertical position, basically. The lighting is still pretty ugly, so I need to refactor that. And then you can turn the sun around by changing the longitude parameter. And yeah, we also have control on the camera speed, so if you increase that, then when you start moving, you will go faster. Okay, then for the info tab, that's just giving you your current location in the world coordinates, so nothing really fancy here. Anyway, once the settings are set correctly for the terrain generation, you can just export that, as I said. So we're going to just close the control panel and you just go to File. Oh, okay, and currently you need to pay attention to the grid resolution that you have. So currently I'm going to export a 4K texture. So File, Export 8 map, it's going to generate the image and then provide you export the file save dialog. I already have this one which was generated before, and now you can set the name that you want and register. So for a 4K texture you get a pretty big image already. And this is the file that was just generated, so we can just open this and you should get this kind of display. This is a 16-bit PNG, so the resolution that you get is still pretty good, and you can still well, display this image, and you can then import that in another tool or another application to use that as a base heat map. Okay, so this is it for this version, and you can just, I guess, just before exporting the 8-map, when you're okay with the display that you get, you would just set the grid resolution to the maximum value to get the maximum details, and this is where you would do the export again. It's going to take a bit more time because you have a 8K texture to generate in this case, so be patient, wait a bit, and then you get again the save dialog. Just save this. The texture is even bigger than before, but you can still open this image and you have all your details. Alright, so this is it for this quick overview on how you can use this tool. I hope you found this recording interesting and you will maybe try this on your side. Maybe a few notes. I'm not sure I mentioned that at the beginning of the recording, but the application you have here is completely built with WebGPU, so you really need to use Chrome basically, because I don't think it's available elsewhere. I mean, it's also available in Edge. I think it's working with Edge. Yeah, okay, just giving it a quick try in Edge, it seems to be working properly. But this application will not work in Firefox currently, I think, or maybe not all the other browser, but in fact it should give you an error message in case there's a problem starting the WebGPU engine. As I said, the generation of the terrain itself is still a bit limited. I would really want to refactor this to provide more option and to be able to generate more realistic terrains. But this was a good beginning for me to start implementing the application. And if you have any question on this, of course, just let me know in the comments, and we can maybe decide on what would be interesting new feature to add in the future. So thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.